What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Get the Bag podcast. I'm your host, Claudia Castro. I got my co-host, Tim Park. What's going on? What's
What
up?
up, fam?
What is up? Very excited for today's episode. We got family visiting, making a stop on the podcast. But before we get into that, please like, subscribe, follow us on all social media channels. We're just dropping value on every episode and just kind of spread the knowledge and adding value to everyone and just educating on financial literacy, ways to make money and get the bag. So, without further ado, this episode, I'm really excited because we actually connected with them offline a couple weeks ago or last week. And this is all in line with the power of collaboration and partnership, which is something that we talk about a lot. And like, hey, partner up with people. These two our guests that we have on met and connected through a shared passion and really turned that passion and turned that partnership into a six-figure wholesaling business, which doesn't really happen often. Usually people do things here and there, but they were actually able to make success out of it. So we're going to talk about that journey, how they went from joining Chris Jefferson's wholesaling group, Charged Up University. Shout out to Chris and the fam, the U fam, to them becoming business partners. Pivotal moments that really brought them together, the challenges and strategies that they've implemented to gain the success. So I'm really excited to kind of dig deep into that. And one other thing is one of our guests who's really a returning guest, we had him on last year, is publishing his first book, Day2Day Journal, will be released tomorrow. So we'll be linking the Amazon link to purchase that book. And really what that book is it offers insightful prompts and exercises across 9 personal development areas, promoting growth through research and tested methods. And it really encourages people to approach a transformative journey with an open mind, dedication, and the mantra, it will work if you work for it. So I really love that. It's all just kind of working on yourself to be successful. So let's welcome Dalen West and Robert Matthews Jr. to the Get the Bag podcast. What's going on, fam?
What's up? What's up? Thank you for
What's
having
going
us.
on, fam?
How y'all doing?
Yeah. Super glad to have you guys on. It's funny because we chatted last week and gave you guys a link to set this up, and here we are. And Robert, I know you were a little nervous, but hey, it's all in the fam, man. It's all in the fam. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I get over it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, right?
Exactly. So what's really interesting, what I kind of want to touch upon first is your partnership and like kind of looking back on how it all got, like how you guys kind of got together. And for those who aren't really familiar with Chris Jefferson's Charge Up You program, he really instills the collaboration aspect, working together, JVing any chance you get. But you guys took it to the next level where you guys kind of caught a success bug, and then you're like, hey, we got something going. Let's do this. And what's really interesting is Dalen is on the West Coast. You're out in Oakland, and Robert's out in Virginia, coast to coast. So talk to us about how that came about and like how it went from how many deals did you guys close up to the point to where you were like, all right, let's make this official and start this business partnership.
Okay, I'll start on that. So once again, thank you for having us. I'm excited to be here and talk and kind of work through this journey that Robert and I have been on. But I would say, like you said, mentioned Chris really emphasized the collaboration, the work with each other, the JV model, a joint venture for those who don't know. And it's been something that I've really implemented since I joined Charged Up. It was something that was attractive to me because I was like, wow, like I don't know this whole process. There's people who are already successful in it. It's almost like a paid internship in my mind where I'm working with somebody, not technically working for, but able to add value to them. And if I produce enough value, they'll be able to add value. It'll come back to me. And so that was my mind frame, really just up to getting in the group. And so it worked out for me. I closed a couple deals doing that process. But then there came a point where I kind of needed to get a little bit more familiar with someone and kind of work with someone instead of just being in so many different places. I was in like 3 or 4 markets, and it was good, but it wasn't something I could scale really. And so one of the markets I chose was Richmond, Virginia, which is Coach's market, just because he was the end buyer there. He had, all the resources I needed. And so I really heavily focused on that market. And then at some point I was like, okay, it would help to have some boots on the ground, somebody there who's knowledgeable also in the space. And so I had saw Robert in the group having some success as well. He had closed a couple of deals, and I reached out to someone who knew him, and they kind of bridged the gap for us. And we got on a phone call. I think our first phone call was like an hour and a half, damn near 2 hours long, because it just felt like we had known each other. It was a very easy conversation. There was clear chemistry, connection. And so we were like, okay, we definitely have a good feel for each other. Let's see if we can do business together. I had a lead opportunity in Richmond. He had a buyer. We kind of connected the dots there and ended up closing the deal pretty quickly from our first engagement, probably a month or two after we first even got on the phone call. We closed the deal together. I think it was, I want to say 10,000 or something like that we ended up getting from that. And so that was our first kind of deal. Like, okay, we work well together. And then we ended up getting another deal opportunity. I forget how this one played out, but I think it was at the beginning of 2023 where we got a lead opportunity, got a buyer, closed it again, and we were like, okay, we work well together. We have the same similar type of work ethic, same type of vision and goals in the business, and then we just like, you know what, let's see if we can put something together as far as a real business structure and partnership. And we started that in February of 2022. So we're 2023. So coming across our 1 year, we haven't even really been in business 1 year yet. So all of this has happened within a 11 month time frame. And so, yeah, it's been a journey. But the partnership has been flourishing. Obviously, it's ups and downs with business and life in general. But we've been able to weather the storm because we have a legitimate relationship and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's probably sums it up a little bit. I don't know if I missed anything, Robert, but that's kind of my point of view on it.
I would just also add that Dalen and I both, as solo entrepreneurs, had experienced some of the ups and downs of being a new company and being a solo entrepreneur, one-man show, kind of handling everything. And I think we experienced a kind of similar issue where during about the same time frame where we both had a number of deals under contract. I think I had like 6. I think Dalen had like 7, and these were individual. And I think only one of mine closed, and one of Dalen's closed. And some of that was due to the market changing at the time. But buyers were backing out and stuff like that. But also, I think a big part of it for me anyway was I noticed that there was certain parts of the business that I was neglecting because I was trying to keep the deals coming in. And so it's,
right.
I wasn't spending as much time on dispo, but that's what makes the money. So I was kind of seeing a disconnect there, and I know I needed some help, and Dalen was having the same things going on in his business at the time. And so that's really what caused us to reach out to each other. And then once we did connect with each other and start talking and stuff, we realized, like you said, that we are very similar and similar in the ways that we think, similar goals, similar vision. It just clicked, and we worked out pretty well together so far. So,
yeah, it's like really a partnership. However you want to call it, like is essentially, coming into business together is like, it's a marriage in a way, right? Like it's absolutely. Like you have 2 roles, because Tim and I recently, we got married, business wise, right?
Right.
And made it official. And, we're kind of starting that process right now too. So, and I've been there too.
Mm-hmm.
I had, at one point I've had 5 or 6 locked up, and none of them went through because of the market changes as well. And that shit hurts, especially when you're expecting it. And I learned, I learned very easily not to be invested in any deals But when you have 5 or 6, I mean, you're like, all right, well, even if 1 or 2, like I'm cool. But when all of them, it's like, you really learn how to like detach yourself from deals. And like you sometimes stuff is out of your control. And the second thing I noticed too is you guys is having a community where you have that support and you guys sort of found each other. You guys were going through the same thing. And have had the platform where you guys can connect and kind of vent and talk about the issues. Because I think that's a big part of as an entrepreneur, especially when you're a solo entrepreneur, is you're just trying to make it. And people are able to get through for sure and make money. But I think the main thing is something we talked about too is your process. Like if you don't have your process in place, you really don't have a real business. Like if there's no KPIs, and we've been there, right, Tim, where it's like, hey, we're focused on the dispo. Like once we get stuff
Yeah.
locked up, right, we're like, oh yeah, we're supposed to keep marketing, but hey, I need to make sure I close this deal, so let me focus on the dispo. Like we've all been through that aspect in a wholesaling business.
Hmm.
So I love that you guys didn't hold back. And because a lot of times you hold on to the issues you have, right, and don't talk about it. This is why you need to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people also, they don't want to, for whatever reason, they feel like they don't want to split deals and stuff like that.
That's
But
another part.
I think, yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there's so much business out there to be done that is almost
Yeah.
kind of a silly way to approach things, to be honest. The more you team up, the more, with other people, not just in a business partnership, but, JVs and stuff like that, the more business you can do.
Absolutely. There's like this, I think it's a phrase they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think a lot of
I
people
love
in the
that.
beginning have an inability to have foresight. They just see the right now. I'm hurting right now, so let me just get this pain alleviated right now, instead of looking like, okay, what is the long term? What does this look like in 5 years? Imagine yourself just doing it all alone for 5 years. You most likely going to burn out. Versus if you link arms, you start taking slow steps towards it, you have a better chance of longevity. And so that's what a vision or alignment me and Robert and I had was, okay, it's not, obviously we're going to fulfill a need right now, but we're looking a little long term, building together, building a foundation, building the system and processes, and actually building a business versus just hustling, because
Yeah.
a lot of times, a lot of people are just hustling, they're getting deals here and there, but it's not really a business. You don't have SOPs. You
Yeah.
couldn't add somebody to your hustle. And well, unless this is going to be hustling too, you know what I
Right.
mean? So, I don't
Right.
know. I need a business built
Yeah.
on people just hustling the whole time. It's like, good luck with that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think the partnership is just it helps accountability as well. And then also, like every one of us has done this individually, and we understand the challenges of navigating those issues individually. But there's always new challenges when you partner up with someone else, and understanding their cadence and stuff like that, and understanding the way they do business as well. And a lot of it is, I know on with me and Gladia, she's taken on a lot of the operations aspect of things, and that's her strength. And and then just navigating how we actually do the business together has been some ups and downs for sure. What are
Yep.
some things that you guys are finding a challenge in navigating the partnership right now that you can discuss with us today?
Well, I think honestly, so far, Dalen and I haven't had that many challenges as far as like differences in opinion or vision or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, I think that one of the things that we went through last year is that, well, I kind of was going through some personal things in my life, and
Mm.
as a result, I didn't check out. I was still doing pretty much what I needed to do, but that was basically it. I wasn't putting all the effort in that I was before, doing all of the
Right.
things, so forth. But um, Dalen stepped up. I mean, it was pretty much all last summer that I kind of took a back seat a little bit. Dalen stepped up and, kind of took the reins and, made sure that we didn't fall off and did the thing. But if I didn't have Dalen at that time, I probably wouldn't be in wholesaling right now.
Right.
So that's that was definitely a,
Yeah.
a godsend. I think that's probably one of the reasons why divinely that we ended up, one of the reasons why we ended up meeting each other and going into business together was because, things happen. But,
Yeah.
we didn't let it become a setback, to be honest with you. Because Dalen and I kind of work together so well and have an understanding of each other and a friendship. I think he totally understood what I was going through and at the time, and he, did what needed to be done, as I would do for him as well, if that was, if the situation was reversed. So, but other than that, to be quite honest with you, we haven't really come across too many challenges yet within our partnership as far as that goes. But that would be the biggest say.
Yeah, I would agree.
No, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of working through that last year would probably be the only real obstacle or hurdle we had to work through. Right now we're working on building up team, and kind of scaling up from where we are, looking at our numbers and KPIs and saying, okay, this is what we did last year. This was working. How can we improve upon it? And so that's kind of the challenge we're leaning into more so than that's coming at us. Just looking at how do we grow sustainably and not grow too fast for our business. Because I've seen that become a struggle for a lot of people. They were like so scale hungry that they outscaled their capability, capacity. And so we're learning from the lessons that come from the you and the group. Because a lot of people in the, we know some people who are heavy hitters who are doing multiple six figures who come across that issue of hiring 5 to 10 cold callers and having multiple acquisition specialists. And it looks good, it sounds good, but are you managing all of it? Are they performing as well? And so our challenge now that we're looking, like I said, is to scale properly, build properly, create relationships and foundations, and kind of move up from there. So that's kind of what we're working on.
I love it.
Yep.
I love the vulnerability, because that's something that's not talked about a lot. Is we're at the end of the day, we're humans, right? And it's funny, Tim and I were just talking about this the other day. When you're building something, we get caught up in the day-to-day. And I just kind of asked, like, well, besides all that, how are you doing? Like, how is everything? We're very similar where we both have a really close friendship. And then we ended up talking for over an hour not about business, just personal stuff. And I think when you are, like I said, this having a business, you're married, so it's important to communicate. It's important to be transparent and honest, right? As long as your mission and vision is all aligned. But it's important to be like, hey, I'm going through something, and I'm gonna need you to, pull through. I need you to hold it down for a minute, and having that understanding of like, all right, cool. Because had Robert not mentioned anything, and then like Dalen's like, yo, what's going on? Like, you're not, what's up? And if you're not like that, you also lose trust that way. So it's really important to have that open communication and vulnerability to be like, I need help. I'm not, I need to get myself together, and having that trust and being like, can you hold it down? Or, I'll do whatever, I can only do up to this amount. That I think that's huge. And that experience, although it was very difficult for you, Robert, like I'm sure that kind of also added whole level of trust and
absolutely.
strength, right, in your business, in your partnership, where you're like, dang, like Dalen really has my back. And now if Dalen ever needs it, like shit, I got his back. And
Absolutely.
so I think this is where the adversity, although it's really tough when you're going through it, like that's where you really learn, right? Like who you're partnered up with. Because if if it's not looking good, because everyone talks about, oh yeah, partnership's great when you're making money and stuff like that. But when shit hits the fan, you're gonna be there for me. And you really learn a lot about someone.
Yeah.
I really love that you shared that, because that's I don't think that's talked about enough, the personal side.
Yeah, you're right. Like you said, we're all humans. So not only business owners. So we go through life just like anyone else. But yeah, you're 100% correct. I definitely it definitely fortified our relationship. It definitely makes me feel even stronger about our partnership moving forward. Um, I do feel, I'm not competitive, but I feel like, if I would have, contributed a little bit more during that time, we would have had a much better year, even though we had a successful year. But I'm going to make up for that this year. So,
And to kind of go off of that, I think me, Robert, and I always talk about things happen for a reason.
Right.
Like nothing is really happening like coincidence or luck. There's something within every obstacle, struggle, or everything you challenge you're going through. There's something to take away and learn. And I think for us, it was the character building type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not as you don't really character build when it's easy, when things are going smooth.
Yep.
You need something. You need something, a challenge to go through to build character. And for us, it was that time period. So in hindsight, of course, it was a tough time for Robert and I. But at the same time, I'm grateful that we went through that experience because it just like really, like you said, fortified our relationship. I appreciated his transparency and honesty because I couldn't imagine what he's going through, and the fact that he was able to let me know and kind of let me help him in that way was something I appreciated as well. So it showed showed our ability to work with each other, be honest, and be vulnerable, and move past it. So, it was definitely a moment.
Yeah, that's really powerful. That's why, I think this is it's important to
100%.
talk about because it's, again, everyone talks about the glamours, but life in general is up and down, but so is business. Like when things are going too well, like for me, I'm always suspect. I'm like, yo, okay, I'm ready. Like what's gonna, it's just that's how it is. So I love a good Tony Robbins quote. It's like life happens for you, not to you. So whatever it was, as difficult as it was, everything happens for a reason. You guys learned a lot from it. But I want to switch gears because something we talked about last week offline is a lot of your success has been collaborating with realtors, which is something that Tim and I are really harping because and we were joking about realtors.
Yeah.
We love our realtors. Wink, wink.
Mhm. Yeah.
We've dealt with our good spare. I'm dating a realtor too, so let me be nice.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like collaboration, not just through your guys' partnership, but helping you guys have been able to help realtors make money. So talk about that, like, because I know that's something you've talked about a lot too, Dalen, and kind of as you built your buyers list, like when did it kind of click? Like, oh wow, this is actually really easy, or like and you guys kind of start implementing that into your business.
So I would say, oddly enough, it happened very naturally, almost to the point where it wasn't intentional. Um, I had actually reached out to a lot of agents and agent buyers, agent investor buyers that beforehand, before Robin and I had teamed up, and so I just kind of had them in the queue waiting. Our first deal was done with an agent who's also an investor here in Richmond, who was a friend of Robert's, and so we kind of got the ball rolling with that. And then from there, once we got our second deal, was a great deal. I sent it to that group of buyers that I had previously before we had teamed up, and a buyer from there actually wanted it. An agent buyer from there, one of the top agent buyers in our market, reached out and wanted it. And so from there, it was just like, okay, this is something. Just looking at the patterns that was forming, and seeing that, okay, this is definitely a way to alleviate a problem that Robin and I both had of dispo, dealing with the traditional buyers that and contractors who just want a crazy deal and could back out at any moment.
Yeah.
And so the difficulties that come with that. And so we realized that this is a way smoother process. It just feels like it's more professional on a lot of fronts. They're able to get our deals in front of multiple eyes, so it's like beneficial because it's not just one option versus just getting it in front of one buyer, and if it doesn't work with this one buyer, you got to go to the next one, versus this agent has a list of buyers they're sending it to and shooting it out. And so from there, once we got that couple of deals done with the agent buyers, it just became pretty much a SOP for us. We kind of formulated and started sending them out to our agent VIP buyers, and then creating relationships with them and building from there. And so, like Robert and I were talking before this call, that all of our deals have been done through agents in some capacity, whether through them directly because they actually buy and they're investors themselves, or through their clients who are investor savvy as well. And so it's been something that we've implemented and haven't strayed away from. It's been very beneficial for us on many fronts. We built really close relationships with these people to the point where we send them deals without even having them locked up. And they'll tell us where they need to buy it at certain different exit strategies, at innovation, at a fix and flip, at a rental, or anything that they see it as. So it's been a game changer for us because we're giving deals with confidence. That feeling of giving a deal, giving an offer, and you kind of think it's like a guesstimate. It's like, oh, it might work at 150, but you're not sure. Versus a buyer says, I will buy that at 150, guaranteed. You can sell it with a little bit more, like, just confidence. And so we've been able to really up our conversion rate and offer conversion. I think we've only had a 10% fallout rate. So
I was gonna say, what your success rate was last year was 90%, which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's all a testament to that because we're getting our deals pre-approved before the offer. And that's become something we've implemented. A lot of times you tell this seller, we're going to give you an offer. We're telling them we might get you approved for an offer. It's like we don't give an offer to every person. We may get you approved. And so it's added a level of sales process to our business as well. That's helped as well. So it's definitely been something we've implemented and going to double down on this year as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
Everything you just said. I mean, the agents on our team have been phenomenal. They're all great. They're all good people. They all are hungry. They all do a lot of business, and they all have a lot of buyers on their list, as well as being buyers themselves. So
that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely been one of the pivotal and a pillar of our business. I would say pillar of our success so far, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's so huge.
That's awesome. I kind of want to stay on that a little bit. Like, can you break down how you work with agents a little bit? Because I think a lot of wholesalers don't know what that process looks like or what the relationship is with the agent. So if you guys could break that down, that would be great.
Okay.
Sure. You want to take that, Dalen?
I'll go ahead. Yeah. So pretty much, like I said, our agents are dual threat. So they can take down a deal themselves. They have their own LLCs and things like that, but they're also working with clients. And I went over a couple of videos on how we found them through Privy, looking at, fix and flip deals that are close to our subject property. And then recognizing that, okay, a fix and flipper flipped this property. They listed it with specific agents. I've learned that fix and flippers are very selective with the agents they work with. They want someone who's not just going to throw their house up and have it sit. They understands, okay, the cost of time on the market, and make sure they're pricing it strategically with the market conditions and all that stuff. So they want some agent who's pretty much investor savvy. And so we've been able to locate these type of agents that they are working with these high end fix and flippers, are buyers, cash buyers. And so as far as the process right now, the ones we have built a relationship with, we'll go ahead and let them know the deal we have. We'll go ahead and send it to them, all the information, details, pricing, pictures, and things like that. They'll let us know, hey, this works for us at this, or no, it doesn't work for us. We need it to be well below or something like that. Once we get that information, we can negotiate with the seller or homeowner and kind of create a deal from there. So that's been a process we pretty much implemented probably the later end of last year, where we'll go ahead and get as much information, details. We'll shoot it out to our buyers and see if it's a potential deal. They'll let us know. If it is, great, we'll just go ahead and lock it up from there. If it's not, we'll go back to the seller and try to get it to the price they wanted at. As far as the kind of the money, the split and commissions side, a lot of our buyers, well, actually all of them, have a kind of a terms with their buyers and clients, and so they'll get a percentage which they'll write an agreement with their end buyers. So it'll be like a 2.5%, 3% with their buyer on the investment property that they buy, and then on the flip, they'll go ahead and
The listing.
right, and so
Right.
they'll get kind of a back end kick twice from, hey, I'm feeding you an investment property and I'll list it for you. And so that's how we've been able to kind of just levy that relationship as well.
Yeah, that's something that's not talked about enough too, and why we're even Tim and I are like really educating. And we were talking about this last week, right? On like the type of the market, like the realtors out in Virginia that you guys have worked with compared to California or even other markets is like night and day, right? And it's there's not as many, at least in California. There are probably agents out there that are investors themselves, but there's just so many, and so it's hard to kind of filter through and finding those. And so when you're trying to explain what wholesaling is, and you're trying to explain that, right, like, hey, look, you can get paid on the back end, front end, they just don't get it, and maybe it's like the lack of education as well on their brokerage, but that's also another thing. Their brokers probably don't want them getting paid the extra, so it's there's a lot of moving pieces. So it's like it's really up to us, because for realtors, many of them who are a little bit suspect of wholesalers because they've either encountered a bad experience with a wholesaler or the lack of education, and people just saying, oh, wholesalers are trash, wholesalers will lie to you, whatever. So they don't even give us a chance. So it's it's kind of the thing where they say once you find a good one, like you keep them and you cultivate that relationship, right? But I think that's not talked about either. Like we talk about how you can get paid on tackling your commission on top of the purchase price, but if that's your client as a realtor, you can also turn around and list that. So it's less effort. You just got a lead. We just passed you a lead, and so it's sometimes having that investment mindset that realtors don't have, or it takes a while to build that. And so I think that's something that we've caught on to, and why we're educating, because conversations we have with realtors out in California or even in Florida, they're like, huh? Like, how does that work? Or you can do that? That's legal. And so it's that also gives us an opportunity to be like, okay, this is an opportunity to teach and benefit people to benefit from.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I just want to add something to what Dalen had said, though, for anyone that's listening. So we are able to send deals to our agent buyers before we get them locked up, only because we've built relationships with them and we can trust them. Because they're agents, I mean, they do have certain responsibilities, and they have, the NAR could come after them if they did something shady. So you do have that level of protection there, but there's still, some there's shady people everywhere. It doesn't matter what profession you're in. So I wouldn't suggest just sending your deals out to these agents before you get them locked up until you've done business with them and developed a relationship with them and you can trust them. I just wanted to add that just to make sure, no one thought that
everyone's just going to send realtors. I mean, that's something we're working towards. We've developed some relationships with realtors who are investors in our market. And so we've already kind of established that pretty quickly. And they're like, yeah, just send us the deal and we'll take a look at it and see what we want to do. So it's just kind of building that confidence. And then as soon as you close a deal, then it's like, you've solidified that. You've you create the transaction, then you kind of continue that. But that's a really, really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. I know we have a little bit of time here, but I want to touch upon Dalen's book, Day2Day, and also talking about, like, because as a partnership, you're seen as two, but individually, I mean, you're creating your own identity too, because I'm sure you guys have goals together as a team, but I'm sure you also have individual goals that you each want to strive for. How has that kind of worked out with that? And obviously you guys have a great partnership, so you guys encourage each other, but I want to talk about kind of what led with publishing your book too, Dalen, as like an individual goal, right? That you strive for, something you've talked about, and now that it's here, for those who, just to remind you guys, it releases tomorrow, February 1st.
Go
So
get
make
it.
sure you guys cop your Day2Day journal. But yeah, I wanted
Let's
to
go.
lead with that.
So I think just like on the front end question about, our personal goals and how it relates to our business partnership, I think we've been very transparent since the beginning about our visions and kind of what we wanted, what we're working for in the business, and aligning our work towards that. And obviously, we have lives outside of the business that we're working towards. And so I know I was very open with Robert that, hey, this is something I wanted to do a while back as far as writing the book and getting that started. And it was something I've been kind of balancing between the business and writing process, but obviously leading with the business because it's something that is one, producing the income, and it's also the thing that we're working towards together. And I wasn't just going to fall back on it for that. And so I've been able to really leverage our partnership and getting time away from it. If I was working full time in the business, or I am working full time, but if it was just me working full time, I wouldn't really been able to accomplish writing the book as, at least not in the amount of time I did, just because it's a responsibility. It's a lot of work to write it. But we've been able to leverage our time together in the business so we could do things outside if we needed to and things like that. As far as me writing the book and kind of where it came from is kind of the challenging times that come with entrepreneurship and business, and realizing that, obviously you need to have systems and processes and be educated on the business that you're in and this and that. But if you don't have the mindset to get through the tough times and really battle through, then, all that stuff really isn't as important as your ability to weather a storm and, be strong-minded through it. And so the journal came from me recognizing that and really falling in love with the process of self-development and seeing myself grow and helping other people grow as well. Because it's something I feel like it's going to be connected with me as long as I live. I don't know if I'll be doing wholesale until I'm 30 or 40 or 50, but I'll definitely be engaged with self-development for the rest of my life. And so for me, it was kind of that recollection of like, okay, this worked for me. Journaling specifically, affirmations, changing how I spoke to myself, not calling myself stupid or saying, damn, you're dumb for that or whatever. Just positively recognizing myself and changing my self-identity was something that helped a lot. And then also awareness, like being able to articulate and then put my thoughts on paper and recognize, okay, these are my thoughts, these are emotions I'm going through, this is what I'm getting towards right now, my goals, having clarity. And then, also being able to kind of put it all together in terms of awareness of who I am, who I've been, and what I want to go towards. So the journal is a composition of really all of the lessons I've learned in business and entrepreneurship as it relates to self-development, mental health, and things like that. And it touches on a bunch of the topics that I really connected with: is confidence, self-belief, goals, emotional intelligence, gratitude, being appreciative of the things you have in the moment, not so much looking at, oh, I want to get this, but like being thankful for what you have now. And so, it's just kind of what helped me become me in terms of the person I've grown into. So that's pretty much what it is and kind of what I put together. So yeah, definitely look forward to putting it out there tomorrow with February 1st. And whenever this drops, the link will be available.
You got a book handy so you can show.
Oh
show
yeah,
them?
definitely.
Yeah.
There you go. I was
There
about
you
to say,
go.
I'm all, let's see the prop. Let's see it.
Yeah, so it's you're able to write in it. It'll be a prompt or something like that. Like, funny enough, this is a good one that we kind of talked about. What legacy do you want to leave behind in life? Why is this important to you? And so, it's kind of one of those things that asks you to kind of have those deep, thoughtful questions that typically we don't ask ourselves unless someone asks you, And so it just gets the mind rolling, ball rolling, and touches on a lot of those key topics of self-development. So definitely go copy a Day2Day Journal.
No, definitely. Yeah, we'll make sure to link that below. You guys should definitely cop one. I cop my pre-orders coming in as we speak. But it's cool because Dalen, we've known each other now for the last couple years, and around like a year ago or so, we met up in the Bay, and you're telling me about this. You're like, hey, I'm going to start this. You're asking me about like content and stuff and things of that nature of like suggestions. You're always so willing and open, and like to see it now is like really, really dope. You really made that shit happen. So yeah, big congrats on publishing that. I'm sure there's going to be many, many more, but that's always really awesome to kind of see like a physical, something physical, that you
Yeah,
created.
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's
Thank you.
awesome.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
I'm just we all known each other for a while now, so I'm just proud of you, bro. Like seriously, I mean, like we
Too,
met
man.
up in the U, and we've talked here. I remember you guys going to the Warriors game,
Oh
seeing
yeah, we
pictures of
did.
that and this, so it's just, come full circle, and having you on this podcast and then promoting your book. And I just want to let you know that your family's proud of you, bro. So you've
Yeah.
done great things in this business. You're doing great things personally. So we just want to let you know and get you your flowers out there too. So check out this book, like for real. Go get it go get it when it launches for sure.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Very proud of
Ab-
you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up, what do you kind of want to leave the audience with? We did talk about legacy a little bit, but maybe kind of starting with Robert and then Dalen. Like, if anybody's watching, feels kind of stuck, like what are some things that, not just words of encouragement, but just if you were in their shoes, what would be some words that would kind of help get them out of their funk?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Like that is the main thing. Do not give up. Um, it definitely can seem impossible at times. It can seem tough. Um, it's definitely not going to happen if you give up. That's one thing for sure. And a lot of times when people do give up, they don't realize it, but they were so close. They were so
So
close.
close.
Yeah. So that's my advice. Is just do not give up. Um, I would seek real answers from people who are doing the business. Find out what are the numbers, because this is wholesaling is a numbers game. And
Right.
if you talk to people and find out, for example, how many leads do I need to get before I get a contract? That's going to be different for different reasons, but you can, if you ask enough people and ask enough questions, you'll get an idea of how many calls you need to make, how many people you need to talk to, how many leads you need to talk to before you actually get a contract. And it can be a lot, and I think a lot of people don't realize that coming into wholesaling, because they hear all the marketing, all the gurus out there telling them this is easy, and it is an easy concept, it's an easy business to understand. The work ain't easy, I can tell you that.
Right.
You got to put in the work. And so I think that's where a lot of people get hung up, is they don't realize how much work you really do have to put in to make it a reality. And so they get discouraged, a quarter of the way or halfway into it, and they're like, this isn't real, this isn't working. They don't have the proof of concept yet, because they don't think it's happening for them. But what they don't realize is that it's right around the corner. They just need to keep on doing it, keep on talking to those people. That's the biggest thing, in my opinion, is just don't give up. And you got to talk to a lot of people. I mean, it's a lot. So just keep that in mind.
That's a really good one.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I'll somewhat piggyback off the don't quit. That's definitely a key factor in any success. What I mean, you're not going to get to success or anything you want by quitting before you get to it. But even on top of that is to, one, have a process, trust the process, but have a process. I think people talk about, hey, trust the process, and you ask them what's your process, and I'm like, I don't know. It's just like
Right.
you can define it. It'll be hard for you to consistently do it. One of the things that really helped and kind of inspired the day-to-day, and what it means is to win days. You can look at winning a day, each day, do something positively impactful to your mind, to your body, to your spirit, to your finances, even if it's a small thing. It's just like 1% better in each of these areas by the day. And eventually it'll be by the week, and then it'll be by the month, by the year. And then you look up and it'll be who you are. So I would say consistently be focused on making positive impacts to your day, where you are, um, when you are. And so one of the things that really helped me with that is just like starting my days off by writing my priorities, what I want to accomplish each day before I start, instead of just getting to my day and just kind of going, on overdrive. Really writing and having a blueprint for what a successful day looks like, and moving from that framework. Another one of the things I've done is write down my goals consistently. Like for me, even writing the book, I wrote down, how in school, I never got into detention, but they used to make you write something all on the whiteboard every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like for me, I did
Exactly.
it in a flip way, more positive, is I wrote down, hey, I'm so grateful to be a published author. I'm so grateful to be a published author 3 times in the morning and 6 times at night. And what it reinforces, like, me doing the process to become a published author. I was thinking like, okay, if I'm a published author, what did I do? I obviously wrote. I took my time to put it all together. I got all the steps together, and so it put me into the space as if I've already done it. And so that was something that was really helpful for me. I've also done that into the business. I wrote down a money goal that I wanted to accomplish, and Robert and I to accomplish, and we did it last year. So now I'm writing even bigger goals, and in terms of the business. In terms of the book I'm writing down, I want to so grateful to have sold 1,000 copies. And so now I'm thinking, okay, if I sold 1,000 copies, what did I do? Well, I marketed it. I created video contents consistently. I put myself out there. I'm speaking to people about it. Like, I'm in the mode of someone who did the thing that I'm going after.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage people to really kind of define what it is that you want, and then create a process that leads you to that. Even if it doesn't look like it's not working, like Robert said, people don't know how close they are. One of the quotes and phrases that's always in my mind is, life isn't working for, or like you said, life isn't when life isn't working for you, is working on you and in you. Because a lot of times you're like, oh, I'm not making the money, or oh, I'm not getting contracts, but are you getting better? Like, are you talking to sellers longer? Are your call times going from to 5 minutes to 5 minutes to 10 minutes? Like, that's success. You know what I mean? So, really leveraging or looking at what you define as a result and success differently helped me. So I wasn't just focused on money as the end goal. I focused on progression as the
Progress.
end goal. Progress. So,
I love that.
I know that was long-winded, but
No, it's good.
No,
That's something
perfect.
I've been really implementing myself. I started reading that book, 10x is easier than 2x by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And he talks a lot about working towards your goals, not as your current self, but as your future self. So you ask yourself, whoever your identity was that led up to this point isn't going to get you to where you want to go. It's going to be your future self. So it's digging deep and be like kind of like what you said, Dalen. Like for us, it's like, okay, being a 7-figure company, what would a 7-figure CEO or owner do? Because what I'm doing right now isn't going to cut it. You know what I mean? So you have to really take a look from that perspective to think outside the box. But yeah, that reminded me of that. And I think the not giving up is a big part too, because how many people have who started around the time that, me, Dalen, and Tim. I know Robert, you joined in the U probably over a year ago, year and a half ago. But for us, we've been there almost 3 years, and so many people have fallen off since then, right? That we know.
Crazy.
And even in the the time you've been here, been in the U, Robert. So it's definitely easy, but it's easy, but it's not simple, or it's not simple, but it's not, whatever. I always get that mixed up. But all in all, it is just trust your progress, right? And just keep rolling. So I love this conversation today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. You guys dropped a ton of gems. I hope you guys watching were able to get a lot. How can people reach you?
Well, I'm on Instagram and TikTok, _day, the number 2 day life. So if you want to, I'll pretty much easy to find on there. Facebook, my first and last name, Dalen West. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'm not so much on
Robert's like, don't, you can't find me anywhere.
No, you can definitely reach out to me, but I'm not so much on social media like that. I am, but I don't even know what my I don't know what my Instagram. I don't even know what to tell you guys.
Hit up Dalen to get to Robert.
Yeah, hit up Dalen.
There you go.
Gotcha.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much. Make sure, if anything, click that Amazon link, copy you a Day2Day Journal. It'll change your life. I can't wait to start using it. I'm ready for it to be delivered. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Everyone else, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll catch you on the next one.